Hi everyone and welcome to episode 3 of Are We Wrong Though? This week's topic is
Postpartum.
Yeah, it is the very hard truths, raw truths about motherhood.
We put a wee poll up and a few questions on our stories to get some feedback from other mums that follow us. And it was some really interactive feedback. There's some things that we're not going to touch subject on today, but we're hoping that we'll be able to cover as much as we possibly can. We can't literally cram everything into one episode. So we've got a few things that we're going to go over and talk about our own experiences, and some of it will touch on the feedback that we got from you guys. So yeah, let's get started.
Let's do this.
Let's do it. So one of the questions that we put up on our poll was if you felt lonely or isolated after becoming a mum. And I think there was only one person that said no. Everybody else said yes.
Wow.
I definitely felt isolated.
Yeah, 100%.
Did you?
Absolutely. And it's a nervous laughter that, because I know I've got friends and family watching this and they might think, how I was there for you.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still lonely.
I don't think it matters how many people are there for you or how much you surround yourself with people. I think, especially if you've been someone who works and you're coming away from work. I know myself, I'm obviously in a very sociable job, so coming away from my workplace to being at home with a little baby that doesn't talk, you're not getting any social interaction with that baby. So I found that very isolating and struggling to, not have that social aspect that you're used to.
I think the loneliness that I felt with both my kids, so they're 7 years apart, and what I mean by saying I had friends and family around me all the time, and the first time round I lived with my husband, and the second time round my newborn son's dad was very much on the scene, as a father, not as a partner, but the loneliness was just there.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we touched on that loneliness feeling when we talked about depression and anxiety and stuff like that. So yeah, no, definitely felt lonely.
I think as well, whether you're breastfeeding or formula feeding, you're up through the night doing your feeds, and even if your partner's there or not, if you're up seeing to your child through the night when you know like the world is still and quiet, and I feel like that can be a very lonely time to be sitting up on your own.
Yeah.
And because you're up through the night and then you're up through the day, it makes your days feel so long because it's like a whole 24 hours that you're working.
Yeah.
So
then introduces sleep deprivation.
Yeah. I'm sure I got a few messages from people talking about that actually, and just saying that if you're up through the night feeding, just know that you're not the only one. And it was so comforting to know that you aren't the only one. There is loads of other people up through the night at this time, but when you're in your room, it's quiet, it's still, and it's just you and your baby, you feel like you're the only person in the entire world that's up at that hour. And because it's so quiet, it is a very lonely time that doing the night feeds.
Did you feel like you lost yourself or found yourself after becoming a mum?
100%. Completely lost myself.
Oh.
Completely lost myself. I lost beyond. I didn't think I was ever going to come back.
Oh God.
I actually thinking of it was probably worse than now. Like thinking of it was worse than what I thought at the time. But I think so much had changed before I had Cara as well. So I had moved house, I'd given up my business. Then obviously you go on maternity leave, you have a kid, you become this new person. You're now mum. You're not Siobhan.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You've got this whole new identity, but you, like, I don't know, I just felt so lost. And I think because I was breastfeeding, I never had time away from my child. So I never had time to go and do things for myself. My roots were down to my ankles, my nails weren't done. I didn't go on sunbeds. I didn't do anything that was like self-care for myself. Didn't have time away from my child to go and see my friends, do anything that I'd done before I had my daughter. I didn't do.
So see when the breastfeeding stopped or got less and less, did you find that then was when you started to
No.
like when for you do you feel postpartum ended? Stopped?
I'd say only this year. Probably I'd say between a year and a half to 2 years. Cara's just turned 2 in April, and I feel like I'd say between that point was when I started to feel myself. I'd definitely say when I finished breastfeeding was where things started to feel more myself, as I kind of got my body back to myself.
Yeah.
My boobs were hers.
Yeah.
She claimed them. and that itself was really different for me as well, because I don't know about anybody else who's breastfed, but obviously when you're breastfeeding, your boobs are full of milk. So I was part of the itty bitty titty committee. When I was breastfeeding, my boobs were huge. And through the summer, I couldn't wear low cut tops. I felt so self-conscious about my boobs being on show, or just because I wasn't used to having a bigger cleavage.
Okay.
So wearing dresses that were like low cut or anything like that, I felt very insecure about. I just wasn't used to having bigger boobs and flaunting them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that among your new body, baby weight. I had a C-section I was recovering from, and I just feel like it was just a lot. Obviously, when I moved house, I feel like I was in my flat before that for 8 years. So I feel like I was still trying to settle in what I was trying to make my home.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I still wasn't at home.
Yeah.
I just had a baby, given up my business. So much happened in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
I completely lost myself. I didn't actually, looking back, I'm like, I don't actually know who she was. So gone.
Scary.
What about yourself?
At the time, just very overwhelmed with everything. But now, the person that I am now, I like to believe that I've definitely found myself.
Mm-hmm.
Probably struggled more with my first, because only at the age of 2 was when I separated from Lennon's dad. We moved. Lots of stuff had happened. But definitely with Miles, it's definitely helped me find myself.
Mm-hmm.
And like, don't get me wrong, there are days where we've discussed in one of our, I think it was the first podcast about like, am I being a good mom?
Mm-hmm.
Like all that stuff. But most of the time, I am definitely glad that I'm a mum. And I don't think that, like, when I actually think back of my life before I had kids, boring. I love my life being a mum.
Totally. And I feel like that now. I feel like I've definitely found myself now. I've found my way through motherhood, and I feel like I couldn't imagine my life without my daughter now.
Yeah.
That is who I am, but finding my place in there was very difficult.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think definitely exclusively breastfeeding definitely had a big part in that, because anything and everything I was able to do prior to having Cara, I was no longer able to do for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Cara's dad also worked away when we first had Cara, so I didn't have him there to help out. So I was doing it all on my own.
So was it complete breastfeeding? No bottles. See, that I've not experienced that full time. With both my kids, I breastfed in the hospital, and then I breastfed for a day and a half when we got home. And it just wasn't happening. Mm-hmm. And I was trying, and it's that, as a mum, that makes you feel like, why can't I do this?
Yeah.
Why is this not happening?
Mm-hmm.
I do remember that the week we got home with Lennon, I mean, all the support was there in the hospital to breastfeed, even leading up to when he was born. You're encouraged to breastfeed.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. They encourage you as much as they can to do it.
And then when it just wasn't working, they offered to send a woman out to the house.
Oh.
And I remember her walking up the garden path, and she had this little dolly in her hand.
Yeah.
So she comes in and she's sitting on the couch and she's trying to position the dolly. And so Matthew's sitting on the sofa, I'm sitting on the couch with the woman, and I'm trying to position Lennon the way she's positioning the dolly. He's getting stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
I can see Matt getting stressed out, and I'm just totally getting overwhelmed because it's not happening, and I feel awkward and uncomfortable when it's not happening. And I was like, this isn't happening. This isn't working. I think you need to leave, because everyone was just so overwhelmed. So I never had that experience of breastfeeding for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But what I did do, because the milk was there, he just wouldn't take it from my breast. I was hooked up like Daisy the cow all day. Expressing,
which is just as hard because you're still providing. Your body's still doing the work. You've still got something attached to you. You still can't. Well,
it was like this when it was Lennon. I had one of the old express machines that was like plugged in, and then on this one it was a handheld one,
right? Yeah.
So I was like constantly.
So you're doing that on top of feeding your child a bottle.
Yeah, so it was like I would fill up the bottles and they'd go in the fridge, and then I'd go and do it some more after like an hour or two, and then that one would be got. It just guzzle. With Miles, obviously years later they have these new machines, so I could be expressing whilst being on the move, which was easier. I was standing doing my dishes, and I've got them on, and they're just So that was
a lot easier. I tried to do that, but Cara just refused a bottle. She just would not take a bottle. And then I think, if I'm being honest, because I was on my own the majority of the time, trying to juggle it all, I just felt like it was too much. Trying to express, trying to breastfeed, bottles, and like, I think just the timing of the milk, how long you can have it in the fridge for, and then freezing it, how long you can have it in the freezer for.
Again, just because for such a long time you were breastfeeding, did you ever develop, because I know you get like the soreness and stuff?
I never got anything like that. My midwife told me at the very start to make sure that I was massaging my boobs every single day. So massage your boobs, because there was so many girls, there was so many people at the time that I had Cara that had kids as well. And one of the other girls that I spoke to had said to her she had mastitis, and I said to her to massage her boobs, and that the midwife had recommended that to me, and she hadn't had that. Nobody had told her
got that advice.
And it made a massive difference. I'd done it every single morning. I would be up in the shower, so whilst I was lipped up with soap, I would just massage, but harshly with my knuckles, proper massage right in there to push all that out. My boobs were literally squishing all over the shower. Pushing out everywhere, like
nice.
And I would just be standing there like massaging all around my whole boob, and it was sore to do because your boobs are so full of milk, they're rock solid. So doing that was painful, but I bet it was nowhere near as sore as what it would be if I got mastitis. So I don't know if that's a definite way of like preventing it. I don't know, or maybe I was just lucky that I didn't get it. I didn't get any blocked ducts or that, but I found that definitely helped. It helped me anyway. So no, I done that for a whole year, and I didn't have any issues. I had a constant flow, and I didn't
massage your tits.
Massage your titties. I didn't. I can't remember what I was going to say there now. I didn't pay attention to my diet or anything either. I know a lot of people that are breastfeeding pay attention to their diet to make sure they're getting enough nutrients and all this kind of stuff. And don't.
But you
eat
quite good anyway.
Don't go and go. I didn't postpartum. I just ate anything, and that's a lie as well. People always say that when you breastfeed that you just lose the weight. Do you fuck? I
No,
didn't.
I never ever believed that.
No, you're
never
eating
believed
like
that.
an absolute gannet. I was obviously, like I said, exclusively breastfeeding, so her full supply was coming off of me.
Mhm.
And your milk changes as your child gets older, obviously, because your milk supply's got to suit the size of your
That's
child,
it,
or
yeah.
else you're going to be feeding them 24/7. And when your milk changed, it felt like I was then eating even more. It was like when you're on your period and you like you just want chocolate and stuff. I was eating a full blown meal, and I was still hungry. I just felt like I could have eaten all day. I just felt so hungry. And again, another girl I know posted the exact same thing. So I was like, well, it's not just me then, because this whole lie of if you breastfeed, the weight will just drop off you. That wasn't either one of my concerns either, to be honest. Like bouncing back, which is not actually on our list of topics today, but
we do touch on the body confidence.
We'll touch on that later, but yeah, massage your boobs.
Massage your tits. Thank us later.
Let's see. So another question we asked on our Instagram was, did motherhood look how you expected it to? The majority of people said no.
No. For me, no. I knew it would be different. So being raised with my siblings and stuff like that, how we were raised, and I knew that I didn't want to do things that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I had an idea of how I wanted things to be, watching movies, watching soaps and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Let's not go.
But you have it in your head how life should be.
Mm-hmm.
You buy the beautiful pram and you think, oh, we're going to go out for family walks and it's going to be amazing. I couldn't get out the house or down the path without my both kids screaming.
Mm-hmm.
And it was stressful. Like Lennon was born in May, Miles was born in July, so it was like both very, very hot seasons. Getting out for fresh air, especially that evening walk before like bedtime at night.
Challenge.
I could not take them out for a walk in the pram because they were just screaming.
Mm-hmm.
And I hated it, but I really wanted it. I really wanted to do it, but it just never really happened.
Yeah.
That bothered me. Nah, motherhood wasn't how I expected it to be at all.
Even now, I don't think, like, nowhere near, like, I didn't imagine I would ever be a single parent.
Yeah, I know.
So you have this vision in your head. Cara wasn't planned either. So she just obviously came along, slipped into our lives, fitted in, and I just never at any point thought, at any point in my life did I ever think that I would be here being a single parent. But like I said, Cara's dad worked away, so I pretty much done it on my own anyway.
I talk about to people how Miles came about.
Yeah.
But I do, since he's been born, and I don't like to say this in a way that takes credit away from Lennon,
Mm-hmm.
but I do think, or maybe it's just my age as well, that I do feel like, how am I going to say it? That's not going to sound right. So in a way, it's like, I feel like my life, I understand my purpose more ever since Miles has come along, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to take the credit away from Lennon.
No.
Because obviously he was my first, but I feel like being a new mum, I'm probably a little bit more chilled than Miles also, but I just feel a little bit.
Because you've been here before, you've done it already.
Yeah.
Although there's a wee bit of a gap, but you've done it.
Still experienced the same things as well. So even though like I'm sitting here and talking like a failure because I couldn't take my kids out for an evening walk in their pram to get them some fresh air before bedtime, that happened with both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it must just be didn't quite work out that way. Then maybe
that's nothing to do with you.
No, it's not my fault.
My friend has just had a similar experience, and she mentioned the witching hour, which I'd never heard of before either. And
What's
her
that?
daughter would literally just cry from like a certain time of night. She would just be so upset, so unsettled, and they would have to take her for a walk to settle her, and they would have to play white noise or whatever it was she had to do. Certain things she had to do to try and settle her child at night time. And when she mentioned it to me, she was like, "Oh, you will have experienced this with Cara, blah blah blah." And we were messaging back and forward, and I was like, I've never heard. I had to go and Google it because I was like, I've never heard of the witching hour.
I've never heard of that.
And thinking of it, the way she was explaining it, I was thinking, I surely would remember that if I went through that, because it doesn't sound nice at all to have to deal with your child crying like that.
Yeah.
Like it's sad. So I was thinking I would remember that if I went through that, surely. So I definitely thankfully didn't experience that, but I'm sure that sounds like the witching hour that you've had with both your children. So that is normal, and I think quite a high percentage of people probably have dealt with the witching hour with their kids.
Do you know what it is? It's like, I think for about, so when Matt had his paternity, there was like a day, it was actually the day before he went back to work. We lived in Newcastle at the time, and we had this day like today, roasting hot, just blue skies, and we went for a walk like up Publican Way, and it was just so peaceful. I got one day, and I thought all the days would be like that. Like, we'd always have this family walk that would just be peaceful and us, and that didn't last.
Yeah. Did you find that quite upsetting?
Yeah. Because, as I say, you have an idea, you have this vision in your head of what life will be like, because you see it on the telly, you see it in the movies, and it's just you see it on social media, and it's just fucking shite.
Yeah, it's not what you envisioned it to be.
And it's like now we're here talking about the reality of what it actually is, and like maybe younger girls that are maybe watching this. Not to scare you, but this is the reality of motherhood and the hard truths of postpartum.
Depths of motherhood, quite literally. And I think if you were to sit and interview and ask every single mum out there, they will 100% have a bunch of negative things to say about motherhood, because it is probably one of the hardest jobs we'll ever do. It is one of the hardest jobs we'll ever do. As rewarding as it is the hardest job we will ever do. It is the
hardest jobs in the world, because there's so much attached to it.
And like I said about what we were saying about the witching hour, every child is so different. So your child could be children were obviously so different to my child, and my friends' children are so different to my child. I can't give her advice on things that I've never dealt with. Do you know what I mean? So when it comes to like us just literally winging every single day of motherhood, parenthood in general. My brother's just had his wee boy, and before he came along, he was saying like, "Oh, I'll be coming to you for advice and stuff." And I was like, "Look, Greg, absolutely everyone is winging it. Like, you probably won't need to come to me for anything, because you will work it out. You will work it out, and you just do. Like every day when you're hitting with a challenge, you do go to people for advice. You'll go to your parents or you'll go to your friends, but the majority of the time your intuition takes over, and you get on with it, and you manage to work it out somehow. What we do.
It's one of the biggest privileges ever, the way.
Yeah.
Like being a mum. Like we sit here and we talk about the good and the bad and the ugly, but it is, like you said earlier, like
you couldn't change it for the world, so it can't be that bad.
My life before, I mean, I became a mum at 28. And then again, a mum for the second time at the age 35 or 36. Yeah. My life was boring. I was married at 24, had my weekends to myself. Well, not myself, but had my weekends, obviously child-free. Could do what I wanted, but it was actually boring.
I know, when you think back, I mean,
don't get me wrong,
says that.
I hate going to soft play because it's so loud and it stinks and everything's all dirty, but yeah, I would go to soft play at the weekend. I'd choose to sit in with my kids on a Saturday, kicking the ball in the garden, or just like
you see that
playing with
often, a lot
Play-Doh
of parents
painting,
saying, what did I do before I had you? What did I actually do with my spare time before I had my child? You wonder, eh? I'm like that when I'm child free. I'm like, what do I do with all these hours? I've got so much I can do, but like you're also just sitting in silence, like twiddling your thumbs, like your day's just so jam packed when you've got kids.
I know.
Saying that, like what we were just talking about there, and going back to when I first had Cara, I remember, I think I was maybe, I don't know, only a few days in. It was very, very early. I was still very much exhausted, absolutely shattered, up through the night feeding. And I remember a couple of people messaging me at this point, congratulating me. This was me just sitting, going through messages of these people who are mums congratulating me. And I remember feeling so shit. I thought, this has got to get better. Because I remember feeling like, why are people congratulating me with something so, like, I felt so awful.
Yeah.
I, like I said, I had to have an emergency section. So in that moment, I was dealing with PTSD from birth trauma, breastfeeding, navigating breastfeeding, pain from recovering from my
All
section,
over.
pain from my boobs, and just sitting there thinking like this. Why are people congratulating me with something that feels so shit?
So, one of our questions is, did you feel guilty for not enjoying every second of becoming a mum?
That ties in with that, I guess. But that was very early on. My hormones all over the place at this point. So sleep deprived. I think I had about 3 hours in 5 days sleep. So I hadn't slept. I was absolutely exhausted. Like I said, I was dealing with birth trauma as well. I couldn't unpack my hospital bag, couldn't deal with anything to do with being in the hospital. And I definitely at that point feel like I felt guilty for not just being in that bubble right away. It did come, I'd say. So I had got home from the hospital on the Wednesday. I'd say by the weekend, I kind of felt like I was in that bubble.
Yeah.
But those first few days at home, I just felt like this is so shit. I feel so shit. Because your whole body's just changed. Your whole body's went through something so traumatic, bringing this child into the world. And just sitting reading those messages, I was like, why are these mums? These mums have more than one child as well. So this has got to get better, because why would they do this
Why would they do it again?
Why would they do this again? This is awful. Like, I feel awful. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of everything else that was going on. I think we all know as mums everything else that was going on with your body in that moment in time. But
I always felt better after a cry. And I did try to, in the first few days, I did try to suck it up and just get on with it. And because like my mum was at the house and my dad was at the house, and like you have that feeling where you want them to see you doing well and getting on with it and showing them that you are like mature enough to be a parent. It was, I think, maybe the third day we'd been home and the house was full. I had my sisters in, I had my dad in, I had my mum in, I think some of Matt's family was in, and it was all at the same time that I was due to get my hoo-ha checked because I had to have a little incision. And when she came to the house, we had to go upstairs into the bedroom. Everything, you know, the house is
upside down,
full of conversation. Upside down. It's busy. I've got family in, and I'm just positioning myself so she can check the stitches. She goes away, and I just stood in the kitchen and I just let the tears flood because I was just so overwhelmed.
Hormonal as well.
Yeah.
The hormones were hormonal.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that somebody replied on our story was setting boundaries and not feeling guilty for them. And
I done that the second time.
Well, I done that the first time. I only have one.
What?
I done that with Cara, and I said to Tony to make sure that nobody comes to the house uninvited. If they come in, I'm not in the mood for it. You need to vouch for me. You need to speak up for me, because I'm not going to stand here sticking up for myself the whole time. That's what you've got to do. So yeah, I set those rules and put them in place, and yeah, I 100% agree. Like, I don't think you should feel guilty for anything at all. You shouldn't feel guilty for telling somebody that you don't want to listen to their opinion, for telling somebody not to come to the house, for anything at all where you're setting boundaries. I don't think you should feel guilty when it comes to you and your child and protecting your peace, like we spoke about before.
Immediate family, like my sisters, my mum, they never found out Miles was born until the next day.
Great.
I didn't want people to know. I knew in the morning I was having contractions, and I phoned along. They said, yeah, let's come in at 6:00 tonight for an assessment. So I was quite chill. Went along at 6:00, and he was born at 23 minutes past 8 in the evening. So it was very quick. And I remember having Miles in my arms at the same time. I'm getting a little stitch in my hoo-ha. Same bit, by the way. I did have my birthing partner in with us, who was a very good friend. But Miles' dad was not in the room at the time. He was like making his way through. But while I was lying on the bed with Miles and the nurse was stitching me back up, I FaceTimed Lennon.
Aww.
And I just sort of like let him see us, and he started crying.
Aww,
and then it wasn't until, I was awake the whole night just staring at him. And me and his dad were messaging back and forward, just like in awe that he was here. But it wasn't until the very next day. Now, don't get me wrong, my mum was raging. She actually said to me, she's like, I cannot believe this is the first of me hearing that you've had him. And I was just like, well, do you know what? I wanted it to just be me and him. He was born at 23 minutes past 8. Stephen never got in that room until after 11 o'clock at night.
And that's your decision.
I just wanted it to be me and Miles, just me. Don't get me wrong, Veronica was in the room, but she was snoozing. But it was just nice to have that moment with us. And then we honoured the parents to come when I got home. We honoured my mum and his mum to come and meet Miles, and then everybody else. Obviously, I never done that the first time round. So yeah, definitely do not feel guilty for putting boundaries in place.
Yeah, and kissing your child. Don't kiss my baby. Straight up, that's a boundary. You just want it set straight.
I don't actually think I was actually that bothered about anything like that. I know it's a thing. I know some people are a little bit like, don't do that. But I wasn't really that bothered.
Oh no, that put the fear into me. My child, they're just so vulnerable.
Yeah.
So vulnerable. They're literally not even a day old. Yeah. Hours old, and just don't put anything near my child. If you've got a cold, if you've got any bugs, it's just so detrimental to them when they're just so fragile and vulnerable. But yeah, keep your bugs away.
What are we got?
Oh, what? Were there moments you regretted becoming a mum?
No. It was hard, but there weren't moments that I regretted becoming a mum. There were definite moments that I felt guilty for not being a good enough mum or making the wrong decisions about certain things. Maybe we can talk about that on another podcast, because that's a different...
I think something that's very popular and I've seen spoken about from multiple other mums on social media actually, is missing your old life. So we were talking about like, what did I do in my time? But your life changes so much.
Yeah.
You can love your child and love the life you're living and love being a mum, and also miss the life you had before you had your child. That doesn't mean you regret having your child.
Yeah, I think I went back to work. So Lennon was born in the May. I went back to work in the October. Miles was born in the July, and I went back I took on work by the August. So both times were very quick.
Very soon.
But it was, and I did feel guilty for it. And even when I spoke to family members about, I'm working, and they were like, what? Why the fuck are you working? And it was all financial.
Yeah, you had to.
And I had to. That was it. I had to, but at the same time, that would be the guilt that I would feel. Not so much about not having my old life and becoming a mum, just about decisions that I made as a mum.
So would you have rather tried to have kids when you were in a better financial situation? I don't believe there ever is a
You're right.
time.
You're right. I don't think there ever is a better situation because everything's so expensive. But I always made it work.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You do.
I mean, there were times when Lena, and this is when I was with somebody, we had two incomes into the house, and we would still like go to our parents and get a little hand with money and stuff, just to sort of like get bits and bobs that we needed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the fear as well, especially with Miles. And although I wasn't with his dad still contributed as a father.
Yeah.
But because I'm like a independent person, I still had that fear that I need to be providing for this family.
You don't want
and
to
not
rely on
relying.
anybody. Yeah. I'm like that.
Yeah.
Because then if they decided not to give you anything or you didn't have them there, you have to just get on with it and do it yourself. And you want to be able to just
stand on
give
your own.
yourself that comfort of knowing that you can do it on your own as well, and you don't have to rely on anybody else.
Yeah. It's nice to be able to rely on somebody, because for a little bit I did. Although we weren't together, but he was such a great support, Miles' dad. I did slightly rely on him, and it was nice to have that, but then there were times where the letdown did happen, and then I was just like, I can't do this anymore, I can't do this. And I put things in place so then I would never, ever have to put myself in that position to rely on someone else.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Did intimacy...
Sorry, cut that out. Not that bit, but that little clown cheese that I just done at the camera.
What did you do?
I just went like that.
Oh, hi,
you
were here.
You kind of forget. For a split that you forget, like, fuck, people are going to be watching this.
That's good though, it means we're getting into it, aren't we? And this is raw and unedited. This one's going to be unedited, sorry, so your face is going to be in this one. Body confidence. Did it change after giving birth?
Aye. But I wasn't that bothered about it the second time round. Definitely the first time.
Yeah, 100%.
I have been a big girl most of my life. There was a moment when I was 16 that I'd lost a lot of weight, but I put it back on very quickly. But I've always been like a bigger person, so I know what it's like to hold a bit of weight.
Yeah.
But the way your body feels, I mean, the way I gave birth naturally, and I have always wondered, obviously, for women that have had to have had cesareans, like that's a long recovery. Like 6 weeks or so, you can't really do anything. Is it 8+?
Yeah. They say 6, I think, because you go and see your doctor at 6 weeks to get, like, it's like your final check. That's when you're able to drive and things like that. I mean, everybody's so different.
So I've never, so both my sisters have had cesareans with all their children. One's got 4, one's got 2. They were all cesareans.
Right.
But I've never yet thought to ask them the questions in my head. Maybe I'll ask you. Yeah?
Go for it.
Right. So, given birth naturally, I feel totally changed the way my hoo-ha looks. Now, even though some women give birth via cesarean, there's got to be some form of something going on down there, no? Or is it just like...
My hoo-ha's not any different, I don't think, anyway.
Okay.
Is any different. I don't know if it depends on
because there's
the birth you have.
Will you still not like have... Well, I suppose obviously because you've got this like 8-pound baby coming right out, that's gonna
obviously do something to your hoo-ha. Of course, it's not gonna go back to how it was. Yeah. I don't know.
I definitely...
It's not like I've had a cesarean and had a vaginal birth to compare them. I've got nothing to compare to. You've never had a cesarean, I've never had a vaginal birth, so we are both talking from completely different experiences.
But
I tried to, so I went through the whole...
So you went through it, and then they said, right,
I couldn't dilate.
Right,
I couldn't dilate, so I only got to 4 centimeters.
Right.
And I had a placenta abruption.
Okay.
So I started bleeding.
Right.
I was losing blood, obviously, because my placenta abrupted and was basically come away. That meant no oxygen, nothing was then going to Cara. So then her life was threatened. And it was all pretty much like, let's go, because for hours before that, where there was complications and problems, I hadn't urinated, I had to get my bladder burst.
Oh God.
I was very uncomfortable. It was just a lot. There was problems with her heartbeat, and it was just emergency, like we need to get her out. But I knew, you just know. Everyone says that before you, like, you know your own body. Make sure you stand up and stick up for yourself and say what you've got to say, because you do know. And I kept saying to them, like, there's something not right here, there's something wrong. Every time I got examined, they were just like, you're only 2 centimeters, I was like, I've been in labour for fucking ages here and nothing's happening.
The body. This section here, you know, where your stomach.
Yes.
Right, okay, so I'm not so bothered about my tiger stripes.
So I'd say,
like, I actually have like my tummy on show quite often, just on the daily. Like, I'm not really bothered about my tiger stripes. But I do remember for a long time, like,
the pouch.
It's just
the lower belly.
No muscle. It took a very, very, very long time to get the muscle. Even like when I was at the gym and you're doing your crunches and you're doing your sit-ups and you're doing all this stuff, and there's nothing there. That was the bit that bothered me.
Because if you think about it, like how much your body's changing, how much your stomach is changing when we're basically just getting torn apart in there. Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot of building up before we even get anywhere near back to where we were before we had children. Our bodies have got to recover before they even start building. Do you know what I mean? My issue was my lower belly, and it's just because when you have a C-section, the scar's obviously so tight that any weight that you're holding is the overhang. So you've then got this pouch, and when you're carrying weight before you have a section, it's sort of just, I don't know, it sits differently. But then as soon as you've got that scar from your C-section, it hangs over. So you've got this hang, and it's so more noticeable, I'd say, when you're wearing like your gym leggings and things like that. It's really noticeable that the pouch just hangs there rather than it just your belly sitting and flowing down into your vagina. I'd say that's the only thing I was bothered about. I wasn't in a rush to lose it though. I was very happy with, just because I was breastfeeding, my main purpose was just making sure that I can feed my child. So I wasn't bothered. So if I was eating what I had to eat and I was putting on weight because I was eating to feed my child, it didn't bother me. I'd say it was just more, I definitely didn't feel confident within my body to wear a bikini if I was going on holiday. I never went on holiday, but if I was to go on holiday, I didn't feel confident to walk about naked. Now, I've not lost all the baby weight, but I feel so much more confident within my body over this past year. And I'd say that's probably from when I stopped breastfeeding. I got my body back and just felt like it was mine again, my own temple.
So who's telling women that you lose weight for breastfeeding?
I don't know.
Maybe there's a percentage of women that does happen to.
Maybe, yeah, or I don't know. Maybe if you've got another child and you're running about after them, you don't have time to sit and eat like a gannet like me.
Let's not be telling lies.
You know, I would go down to my mum's and sit and she'd make me a full-ass dinner that she was making for my dad, who's a fully grown man. I'd eat all of that and still be hungry. So maybe people that don't do that will maybe lose that weight a little bit easier than me. But no, it definitely took a long time to get body confidence back to, and I weirdly feel more confident in my body now than I did before. And I would say personally that I looked amazing before I had Cara. I was going to the gym, I was eating really good, my body looked good, and I feel more confident now in my body. But I think I have become very mesmerised by pregnancy since having Cara, like beyond mesmerised.
What do you mean?
What our bodies go through, what we do.
Right, okay, yeah.
Like how we bring life into the world. Like and I look at Cara and think, I fucking created you.
That we shouldn't be that hard on ourselves because look what we've just done.
Look what we just fucking done. I grew ears, lungs, heart. Look at you, like you're a full human being, and I grew you in my stomach. I'm mind blown by it all since I had Cara. Honestly, so mesmerised.
Good for you.
That I think now that I look at my body and I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud that it just doesn't bother me that I've got an overhang or a wee bit of body weight.
Woo!
Do you know what I mean? Like, I think we all need to give ourselves that credit. Like, if you've had more than one child or just the one, but like if you've had children, well done. I'm just amazed. I'm just absolutely flabbergasted.
I know. It is amazing what our bodies can do. And in terms of what our bodies can do, let me tell you, when you're giving birth, right, don't do it lying down on your back. Stop that.
What position were you in?
Oh my God.
Doggy.
That was before.
So you got in that situation.
So, with Lennon, I was on my back. And I'm pretty confident that is how we kept sliding back up the birth canal. And then we had to use the forceps to get him out, right? Okay. Conehead, poor kid. Second time round, because, the second time round, I prepared, I done the whole, I remember like a few days before he was born, I was on the ball, I was bouncing on the ball in the living room, and I had my little express machines on my boobies, and I was getting all my colostrum ready. I filled up 10 syringes of colostrum, froze it, took it in at the hospital when I knew he was going to be born. They were all proud of me.
Yeah, I'm proud of you.
So, second time round, I done a little bit of digging. And I was like, yeah, that totally makes sense, right? So they bring me into the room because I'm having these like major contractions. And it was just gas and air that I had. She's like, get on the bed. If you're just going to lie on the bed. No, I'm not lying on the bed. I was on my knees on the bed. So the bed was, the top of the bed was raised up. I was on my knees facing the back of the bed, sort of leaning over it like that.
Elevated up.
Gas and air here. Just sort of like sitting there with my ass hanging out, legs open, ready for miles just to drop out. And that is how I think my labour, active labour, literally lasted, say from between 6:30 and he was born at 23 minutes past 8. It felt like 10 minutes though, because that's gravity.
Yeah, and that's what
doing
I
its job.
That's what I'd researched on as well, that was the best position to be in.
Why do they ask you to get on your back
I don't know. We need to look into that as
and
well.
even like the birthing beds, they're designed for you to lie on your back with your legs in the stirrups.
I don't know why you're saying that. I don't know why, but near the end before I got taken into theatre, that's the only position I wanted to be in. So I was sitting on my back. I'd had my bladder burst and everything by this point, I'm sure. And I scooted my bum down to the bottom of the bed and I had to sit on the bottom of the bed. I needed to sit up. I felt like that was more comfortable for my hips. There was so much pressure down there. She was ready to come. So because if I had dilated on time, she would have been out. So everything down there was ready but the dilation. So the pain down there was throbbing. I felt like that was the best position to be in.
And it's not even down the front, it's down the back.
Everywhere. Like the whole area is just pulsating. And I remember just saying to her, like, I need to get in another position. This isn't comfortable at all. And I wanted to go over onto my front. And
Yeah.
she was just like, well, they were obviously talking about taking me into theatre, so she didn't want to change anything at that point. But I just, for some reason, just felt like I needed to get in that position. I didn't find it comfortable in any other position. But because they were monitoring Cara's heart rate, there were certain positions that she wasn't happy in. So certain positions I was in, and they would like alert me, be like, right, we need to move you quickly because her heart rate's dipping really quickly, so we need to move you. So I had to keep moving certain ways anyway, but comfort-wise, I don't know why that was, maybe just instincts were telling me,
Yeah.
Mother, get in that position, you know?
Oh, who's asking that?
You go.
Okay.
Ask yourself, you go first.
Ask myself, did I resent my partner after becoming a mother? Ask him. He'll tell you.
Ask the men. I'm sure they know the answer.
Do you know what? Yes and no. Because of the emotional roller coaster that your body goes through and your mind goes through, yeah, there were days where I could wrap the hoover around his head.
So what things did you resent him for?
Just getting the freedom to leave the house.
Yeah, why?
So actually, when Lennon was born, I wasn't driving at the time. I actually just passed my test like 5-6 months after he was born because I didn't think it would be an easy life doing the whole getting on the bus to the childminder, then getting the bus to work. So Matt had that freedom to, I mean, I contradict myself when I say this because he was going in the car to go and get the shopping, or he was going in the car to nip to his mum's to pick something up, or doing something that was benefiting us as a family or something. But he was just able to leave, get up and go. And I wasn't able to do that. And if I tried to leave the house with him in the pram and go for a nice walk, I just, yeah. And it's so shallow. But I did. I did. Like, who the fuck does he care? He's just fucking off when he feels like it.
I know.
He's going to get the shopping so we can have tea tonight.
I know, but it's sad because you want to go and get the shopping. You want to take 5 minutes away from your kids and
I know.
Like, collect yourself again, or just be Amanda out at the shops for 5 minutes. But I think it's just what I'll never get is why do we have to ask them to look after our own children? Why do we need to say, can you watch them for 5 while I go for a shower? Why do they just go for a shower?
Yeah, that's it.
They just go for a big 2-hour shite without even saying anything. Why do I need to ask to go and do those things? Why do I need to say, can you watch them so I can run away for a sunbed? Can you watch them so I can get dinner on?
Yeah.
Why do I have to ask them? They never have to ask us. We just do it.
I think as well, some of the resentment came from, so obviously we're the ones that's went through that traumatic experience, although beautiful, because I can, even today, I can talk about my births. I had good births. I would do them all over again. But I know some people have had traumatic births, but it was still, even though it was beautiful, it was still traumatic. And they forget that. They easily forget what you went through, what you've done, what you've created. And I feel like they expect you to just be you as quick as anything. Like, there's no... And I don't think it was like an ignorant thing on his part. I think men are just not... They're just not educated the way that we are around stuff like that. Like, they'll maybe not sit and every day log into their baby app to see how that fetus is developing and then read how your body is going to be at this stage in your pregnancy, whereas we do that. And because we've done that every day for 9 months, or since when we found out we're pregnant, and they've not done that, that's how it's so easy for them just to forget everything that mums went through to actually bring baby into the world. But that's where the resentment comes from, because they just don't understand.
I feel like as well it's a lack of even trying.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is there's a lack of them even trying. You never will. They never will understand any of it at all, but it's the lack of even trying to even have an ounce of what you must be going through. It must be really hard. I mean, it goes the same for myself. Before I even had Cara, I didn't have a child, so I could never ever imagine what it would be like for a woman who had carried and gave birth to and going through postpartum and motherhood until you've done it yourself. So that must be how I felt before, must be how men think now. But yeah, I definitely agree. It's almost like you come home and you've just got to get on with it and just forget. It took me months to get over my birth.
Yeah.
Months. And I just feel like it was just on top of just dealing with postpartum hormones as well. I feel like it's just not...
See, when you had your postpartum check at the doctor's, do you feel like that was... How did that go?
The 6-week one?
Yeah.
Diabolical. So I'm saying... They say that the recovery for a C-section is 6 weeks because that's when you get your check off from the doctor saying, yeah, you're okay now, you can drive. I didn't get asked one question about me. They took Cara, put her on the changing mat, stripped her off, checked her over, handed her back. Now, Cara's dad's half Jamaican, so Cara's mixed race.
Yep.
She was 6 weeks old. She had jaundice at the very start, right? She didn't look jaundice, but the doctor said that she had jaundice, and I was like, she's mixed race. Like, to even, I don't know, to me, I was just at the time thinking like, she's definitely not jaundice. It's clearly not jaundice. It was obvious.
Yeah.
But it's obviously it's on our notes as well.
Yeah.
But not one question was asked about how I'm recovering, how I'm doing. Just asking how are you? Not one question. How my C-section is, how my welfare is. And not one single question. It was just like, your daughter's fine, out you go. See you later, in and out.
I feel mine was also diabolical because when I think back now, where I am in my life, in my headspace and stuff like that, I was a red flag. I was a red flag.
Yeah,
now I took a job. I took a job with a cleaning company to work my own hours so I could earn extra income so I didn't have to rely on anybody, right? Okay. But that was like 5-6 weeks after Miles was born.
Yep.
That, no. Like, and I remember sitting in her office and she was like, oh, you're full of this and full of that. And I remember saying to her, I was like, yeah, and I'm going to be going doing a wee lash course and I'm not going back to my job at Top Styles and all this and blah, blah. And we've spoke about ourselves on a personal level and how we are and how we behave in certain ways. When I think back to how I was back then, I'm like, I was not okay.
Yeah.
I was like, in a way, not trying to escape from being a mother, maybe trying to cope and handle too much, but that should have been my time to slow down and enjoy becoming a mother and not feeling
you're still in that bubble, and your hormones at that point as well.
But straight away I was like, no, like Miles' dad's involved and his family's great and they've offered to sort of like have Miles if I needed to work or anything like that. And that's exactly what we did. And it got to the point, I mean, I done it for a couple of months and I remember driving up, it was through a big country road, and I remember driving up to this big estate house. It's a great job that I had. And it hit me and I pulled over and I sat with my hazards on and I messaged the client, just an absolute lie, messaged the client and said, I'm so sorry, I can't come today. Turned the car around, drove back to Miles' granny's, and I just said, I couldn't do it. I'm just going to pack it in. I can't do it anymore, because I felt that maybe it just gone on too long, that was it just hitting me then. And that's probably a bit of advice that I would give someone that is either about to become a new mum. Slow right down. Just slow it right down
and
enjoy it, and don't feel guilty for putting boundaries in place.
It all does just go in so fast. The one piece of advice I think everybody gets before they become a mum is to soak it up. And I remember every single moment where I felt like it was maybe a bit harder or I was maybe struggling a little bit, I'd just put that pressure on myself to soak it up because it's going to disappear. And I feel like
it's
we were
like
talking about before.
Be in your feels. It's okay to have your sad days and your down days.
Yeah.
Like you have to grow through those feelings.
Yes.
Feel them, sit and feel them, but then always bring yourself back to, what really matters.
I think it's interesting us being still both quite early, still technically in the postpartum. They say what is like 2 years.
Miles will be 3 in July.
Yeah. And they say that that's like you're technically still postpartum up until, is it 2-3 years? I'm sure. It's quite a long time. Longer than what you think. You think like a year you should be.
I think depending on what your circumstances are, like I think it just depends on your circumstances. I do think I'm totally out of it. But again, I might in a year's time look back at how I've been. Yeah, I'm totally out of it.
Well, I was just speaking to my friend the other day about Cara had reflux from, I don't know how old she was, maybe 3-4 weeks. Very early on it came about. And I was speaking to her about it. And when I've spoke about it before, I've in my head been like, it wasn't that bad. Like her reflux wasn't that bad. But then speaking to my friend about it the other day, she shared a video that was quite triggering because it took me back to when Cara had reflux and the crying and the feeling demented and not knowing what to do. And this mum had in the video had taken herself away and had to just leave her baby crying. And see if you've ever had to do that. I just want people to know that that's okay because I'm sure, positive, that every single mum has surely done that, had to take a time out. I know that I have, and I just want to put it out there that any mum that, even if you're not dealing with reflux with your baby, if your baby's crying for what you feel like no reason at all, if they're fed, changed, and there's no reason for them to be crying, then if you need to take a break, then go and take 5 minutes. And I feel like you're not going to be any use to them if you're worked up, overstimulated, overwhelmed, and almost at breaking point. So that video reminded me of when Cara had reflux, and then it took me back to that moment of her being like that, because when Cara was born, she wasn't a crier. She never cried.
Yeah.
We were taken into observations after theatre, and she was the only baby in the whole of observations that wasn't. She never cried. And I was like, "Is she okay? Like, is there something wrong?" But she just made like little noises, like a little cat. But because she never cried, then when she got reflux, she just cried for like a whole weekend, day in, day out. And I was driven demented because I wasn't used to it. I was just like, what's she crying for? What's wrong? I knew there was something wrong, and I had an inkling that it was reflux because she was obviously being sick and not being able to keep her milk down. But it was the only time the health visitor came in to see me that I hadn't washed, hadn't changed. I was still in my jammies. And I'd always managed to get up and say to myself in the morning, that was the first time she came in. And as soon as she asked me, "Are you okay?" She obviously knew there was something wrong. I just burst into tears.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're tired and hormonal and everything anyway, but I just couldn't get myself together. Her whole visit, I cried. When she was leaving, I was still crying. And she was like, "I don't want to leave you like this." She was like, "What I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a call in a couple of days just to make sure you're okay." But I remember just feeling the other day, remembering that and feeling like I must have blocked out so much.
Yeah.
I feel like I blocked out a lot of maybe the negative things or the harder parts.
Your brain does do that. Yep.
Blocked it all out. But yeah, I just want everyone to know that if you've had to take a time out away from your baby because they're crying and you are feeling like you're losing your marbles, that you're not the only one. I'm sure we've all been there.
Yeah.
Okay, this one's for you because I don't have two children.
Okay.
How was postpartum different with your second compared to your first?
Okay, I feel like I am going to contradict myself here. I do feel like it was easier because it was the second time round, so I kind of expected some emotions and feelings to come and go.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still kind of hard in a way because having Lennon age 7, like Miles was born that year, the 1st of July was the very first day of the summer holidays.
Mm-hmm.
And Lennon was at home. He was actually waiting in the driveway with some flowers, waiting on me coming home from the hospital with his dad, bless him. But I wanted him back home for us coming home.
Yeah, of course. Wanted him involved.
Yeah. But all he kept asking that day was, can we go to the skate park? Can we go to the skate park? And obviously I'm just like, no, we can't, not today. And then I do remember that was the first night that I tried to take Miles out for a walk in the evening because it was like a nice warm evening.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wasn't getting to the end of my street. And I live at the end of my street.
Yeah.
I wasn't getting round the corner, and I thought, oh no, I'm just going to have to go back home.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard in a way.
But you couldn't just sit and enjoy it the same as what you could with your first, because you've got another child there to have to get up and see to.
I'll be honest, the thing I found hard most about becoming a mum the second time round was just the way it came about. Mm-hmm. So when I fell pregnant with Miles, I wasn't in a relationship with his dad.
Mm-hmm.
And for a short while, I didn't think that his dad wanted to be involved as a father. Mm-hmm. But then that changed, and communication was there all through the pregnancy. What can he do? Do we need anything? And that was okay, but I didn't actually talk about him in the resentment question. I talked more about Matthew in the resentment question. I held this resentment towards Miles' dad when Miles was born because I didn't want to share him.
Right.
I didn't want to hand
I suppose, yeah.
him over to somebody who I knew in the beginning didn't want him.
Yeah.
But then the other side of myself, just the way I am, I'm not going to hold that against somebody who hasn't had kids before and it was his first time being told that he was going to be a dad and he freaked out. Mm-hmm. And that was just the way he handled it. I can't hold that against them, but there's still something inside of me that resented sharing my child with him. So when Miles was born, Stephen had 6-month paternity.
Wow.
Yeah, he works for a very good company, got a great job. And the way things went with Miles from the day he was born was, and this allowed me to go to work so soon, was I would have Miles for 3 days, then Stephen would have Miles for 3 days. I would have him for 3 days, Stephen would have him for 3 days.
That's a long time.
That's a long time to not be around my newborn.
Yeah.
But I can't say that like I sat at home during those 3 days where I didn't have him. Like I did, I spent it with Lennon because it was the summer holidays. I've realised, right, okay, well, this is an opportunity for me to earn a little bit more money. I worked, but it eventually caught up with me. And I think on my way to that job was when I just thought, I can't do this anymore. I just want to be with my baby. Mm-hmm. I've lost track of the question. What was the question?
The difference between...
Yeah.
The difference between postpartum with your first and your second.
felt more in control the second time round,
Mhm.
but clearly I still had some issues
Yeah.
that I was trying to deal with. I'd only known this person a few weeks when I fell pregnant with their child.
Mhm.
I only
That's
knew
not
him
long
and his
at all.
family a few months
That's
before he
scary.
was born. And of course, because
Sorry,
he was the
tuberculosis.
father,
Sorry.
him and his family had rights. They had rights to see their grandchild, their nephew, all that stuff. But I still had this resentment.
Mhm.
But I definitely feel second time round I was a little bit more in control. Don't feel like that now. Like Niles is at an age now where like I could not allow Miles to not have that family in his life.
Yeah, totally.
Totally make him who he is.
Mhm.
So yeah, I would say second time round, although there was some deep feels, I
Mhm.
definitely think I was more in control.
Yeah.
Even just like, yeah, the crying when we went out for a walk, that was hard because I didn't achieve that. That wasn't happening for me. And I was like, what's going on? Why can't I do this still?
Mhm.
I couldn't do it with Lennon, can't do it now. Just a total mix of everything. In some ways, I felt a little bit empowered.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a quite hard one. But that's the
I
best
don't
I
have
can
a
answer
second
it.
child, but I know for a fact that if I was to have, and I know hormonally and things like that, I'd probably be the same, but I know for a fact I would be a different person. Because, like we were saying about, like losing yourself and then finding yourself, I've found myself now, but I've found myself not the person I was before I had Cara. Found myself in a totally different light.
Mm-hmm.
So going into motherhood as the person I was before, and then becoming a parent to a second child as the person I am now, I know would be very different. And like we were saying, obviously, your life changes.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, my friend who's just had her second child, and like I said, we were talking about reflux and things. What I praise her for is obviously her eldest daughter's in school, and her youngest has gone through some like reflux or something the now. And when Cara had reflux, I had to feed her and then keep her elevated for at least half an hour after feeds.
Mm-hmm.
So even night feeds and stuff, you'd be thinking, oh, I really want to just get back to sleep, and you're having to keep them elevated.
Yeah.
But I had the chance through the day to feed her and then just sit her. 9 times out of 10, that's when she would nap. So I was always contact napping because I had to keep her up after her feeds. And my friend was just saying that that's what she finds really difficult just now, having another child, is because she can't do that. So sometimes she's got to feed her daughter, she's got to go and do the school run.
Yeah.
So she's not able to just keep her elevated or do those things, which would be so different with your second compared to your first.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a lot more other things that you feel like you were able to do with your first because you've got the time in comparison to when you then have a second.
It's, yeah. Could I have a third? No.
Could I have a second? No, don't think so. Okay. What's a piece of advice you received postpartum that you would pass on to others?
I'm not sure if I received it because I'm not sure who.
Or what's a piece of advice
said
that you would have liked to receive from somebody if you don't feel like you've had advice? What's a piece of advice you would have liked to receive from somebody that you would pass to other people, other mums?
It's not like how you see in the movies.
Oh my God, yeah.
It is
From start to end. Pregnancy,
It
labour,
is,
motherhood, none
it's
of it.
not like Rachel from Friends giving birth to Emma.
No.
It's not like that. It's worse.
My friend said to me, do what you've got to do to survive.
Yeah, that's
and I would
a
pass
given.
that on to absolutely every single parent. And I'm meaning if you can't breastfeed and you've got to formula feed, if you've got to co-sleep, absolutely anything you've got to do. Do not take judgment from anybody. Do not let anybody tell you what's right, what's wrong, what to do. Like, just do what you've got to do to survive, because
And see,
it's a minefield.
no disrespect, okay? Respect where it's due, but see mums and mother-in-laws that say this saying, in Maddie, we did it like this, in Maddie, we did it like that.
No one gives a fuck.
Nobody gives
Karen,
a shit.
whatever your name is.
Get to fuck.
Nobody cares what
No.
they did back in your day.
No.
Times have changed.
Yes.
And us mums are going to do what we've got to do, and we're going to do it our way. And I think that's probably, the best advice I have received, and it's the best advice I could give on to every mum and mum to be. Do what you've got to do to survive. Because, girl,
Swing it.
girl. Anyway, I think we've covered quite a lot today.
I actually feel liberated.
I feel like I really
Talking
enjoyed
about
this
that.
one.
What do you mean this one?
I've really enjoyed talking about this episode.
Did you not enjoy the other one?
Yeah, I've enjoyed the other ones, but
And the
like
one
I feel
before
like the episode 2 was very.
Yeah, I was sad. I was quite sad for the rest of the day about that one.
It was deep.
Blue.
It was deep, and my anxiety was.
Yeah.
I edited.
You were a bit edgy for a few days after that.
I had to watch that back editing, and I was like, holy shit, I was able to pinpoint when my anxiety was.
Yeah.
I was able to pinpoint it. It was really bad. Like, I didn't realise actually in the moment how bad it was.
Yeah.
But I definitely, I don't know why.
I actually do feel like visiting this kind of topic every once in a while would be good.
Yeah.
Because if we have mums to be out there that have questions or stories or something that you want us to talk about, whether it's your story just to raise awareness, I would like to visit this topic again.
I think there's
maybe not next week.
We've compressed quite a lot into a short space of time, but and we've tried to cover quite a lot, and we've obviously put questions out there to see what other people have dealt with, so we can cover that on our experiences as well. And I really appreciate everybody who did respond to our post, because it's very liberating actually hearing everybody's perspective and how different everybody has experienced motherhood. But yeah, I think there's a lot, like even just talking about our pregnancies, again, these are things that every single person experiences so very different. So I think even if we've done one more talking about pregnancy and birth, I feel like labour, we can dive into things. There's just so many topics within the one topic, isn't there?
Excuse my squeaky shoes. Because we've spoken about, it's easy for us to talk as females, as mums, as women who are built to give birth. And we talk about like the struggles that we've had with our partners. I would like to engage with some men.
Perspective.
Yeah, male perspective. Yeah, I would like.
Be interesting.
I would like to touch on that. I know.
I don't think a man would want to go up against a woman on a podcast about.
But not even that. Just to get an insight, because I mean, if I sat Matt down or sat Stephen down and asked them some questions about how did you feel when you knew you were going to become a dad? Or
I would need to kidnap Tony and put him in a straitjacket to even get him here.
Yeah, I'm not sure they'd be up for that, but if there are any males out there who's like, I want to have my fucking say, bitch, just give us a call.
Yeah, bring it on.
Don't call us. Don't
Don't contact me anyway. Do not contact me.
Don't call.
I don't want to speak to you. She can carry that interview. That was your idea.
Send a wee
You
message.
can carry it. But yeah.
On phone. Right, aye. Not a podcast.
Yeah. So yes, it's been good. This has actually been really good. I've enjoyed this one. So yeah, we will definitely touch ground on this again, won't we?
I think we should, and I would actually really like to. It's always nervous doing your first one.
It's been the most interactive on our socials. It's been a hot topic.
Yeah.
The hottest topic. And I think it's our audience is it is mostly mums.
Yeah.
So I think that's been why we've had a lot of feedback. But yeah, we'll definitely do this again.
100%.
This is our main jobs, being mums, so we can probably talk about that all day long.
Yeah.
But anyway, we've got to go back to being mums. So we're going to call it a day. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one.
Thank you for watching.
We will be back very, very soon.